Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Dr. Tehmina from Faisalabad Medical University, Biochemistry Department. Dear students, now I will explain the structure and formation of important steroid hormones known as glucocorticoids and their important biochemical aspects. Now the glucocorticoids, as previously has been told, that these are formed from zona fasciculata layer and zona reticularis layer combinedly of the adrenal cortex. Now zona fasciculata and reticularis layer form the glucocorticoids, and the most important of which is cortisol. So the cortisol, the main glucocorticoid, or we can say the principal glucocorticoid of our body, mainly plays its role in emergency responses and the main functions that will be discussed which belong to the glucocorticoids. Now in the previous explanation that was given upon the structural classification of steroid hormones, the glucocorticoids belong to C21 containing steroids, class 1 of the biochemical structural classification of the steroids, that is 21 carbon containing steroids, along with the mineralocorticoids. Now when we see the structure of the glucocorticoids, it is different from mineralocorticoids, aldosterone at 18, at 11 and 21st position, and the main principal hormone is cortisol, that also contains C21 carbons as that of the similar to that of the mineralocorticoids. Now the first step in the synthesis of the glucocorticoid is identical, similar to the mineralocorticoids first step, that was the rate limiting step involving side chain cleavage enzyme, cytochrome P450 enzyme, and the cleavage takes place from the 22nd carbon position, and the remaining carbons are known as 21 carbons, and the 21 carbon containing structure is the main precursor of many steroid hormones of the body, and this forefather is known as pregnenolone. Now we come to the same important diagram from the Harper, in which the first step has been explained, in which the cholesterol is converted by side chain cleavage enzyme to pregnenolone. But at this place and this time we will be residing in the intermediate layer of the adrenal cortex, that was known as zona fasciculata, from outer two inner layers GFR, and the F is for the fasciculata intermediate layer, from which the main synthetic products or steroid hormones are the glucocorticoids. Now the first step in this formation involves 17 alpha hydroxylase. This point was explained in mineralocorticoid, that 17 alpha hydroxylase enzyme is deficient in the outermost layer, so its function starts in the middle layer of the adrenal cortex. By the action of the 17 alpha hydroxylase on pregnenolone, 17 hydroxypregnenolone is formed. After the formation of the 17 hydroxypregnenolone, in which the hydroxylation reaction has taken place at position number 17 of the pregnenolone, the 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase acts upon this product, and the position number 3 is dehydrogenated, and the resultant product is 17 hydroxyprogesterone. In 17 hydroxy, after the formation of the 17 hydroxyprogesterone, two hydroxylases, first was 17 alpha hydroxylase, now further two hydroxylases, 21 hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, causes hydroxylation reactions at 21st position and at 11th position respectively. and the end product is known as cortisol. So in the production of the cortisol, the main action is of 3 hydroxylases, 17 alpha hydroxylase, 21 hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, and there is action of the 3 beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase that causes the dehydrogenation reaction at the position number 3. Now, as far as the physiology of the cortisol is concerned, its main action is as a stress hormone. Whenever there is need of the stress and energy from the body, that is when the body is exposed, human body and human beings are exposed to any kind of trauma, accident, surgical stress, the emotional stresses, the psychological stresses or the exam stress, the cortisol is released in increased amounts, and the response to the stress, that is when the increased metabolic rate and increased energy is needed, is mainly concerned with the actions of the cortisol. From this picture, the main origin of the enzymes forming the cortisol is explained, that is after the pregnenolone formation, the 17 alpha hydroxylase, the 21 hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, they have different origins. 17 alpha hydroxylase and 21 hydroxylase belong to the endoplasmic reticulum, and 11 beta hydroxylase is mitochondrial enzyme, as that of the first enzyme that was known as side chain cleavage enzyme that converts cholesterol to pregnenolone. So this picture was to explain the positions and origins of these two hydroxylase, 3 hydroxylases in the formation of the cortisol. Now, cortisol is also known as hydrocortisone, and this hormone is most abundant and essential for life. This is the main statement for the definition of the cortisol. Without cortisol, the existence and the maintenance of life is difficult because the main energy derivation processes will not run. So it is responsible for 90% of the glucocorticoid activity. That is why it is known as the principal glucocorticoid of the body. Now this is C21 containing C21 carbon containing steroid hormone, and the regulation of the cortisol involves the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. From the hypothalamus, the corticotropin releasing hormones, CRH hormones, are released that act upon the anterior pituitary gland called adrenocorticotropic hormone. So ACTH is released from the anterior pituitary gland by the action of the CRH from the hypothalamus. This adrenocorticotropic hormone causes from the adrenal gland the release of the glucocorticoids from the fasciculator layer. Now the two main stimuli, as you people have been told before, are the stress and the low blood levels of glucocorticoids. Now the stress can be of any type, as was explained previously. So this picture depicts the main regulatory axis for the formation of the cortisol from the hypothalamus. Whenever the body is exposed to the emotion, stress, trauma and influence of the circadian rhythm, that was explained that the release of hypothalamic hormones can vary, or adrenal hormones can vary, and the rate of release of hormone can vary according to the timings of the day and according to the daylight and the night. So according to the circadian rhythm, the release of the pulses from the hypothalamus of corticotropin releasing hormone or corticotropin releasing factor can be different, and this will act upon the anterior pituitary to secrete in increase or reduce amount of ACTH, and this ACTH will act upon the adrenal cortex to produce cortisol from the zona fasciculator layer, that is intermediate layer of the adrenal cortex, and this cortisol when in excess in the body will give feedback inhibition to